Well, hello there. Good evening. Welcome.
Morning from Canterbury, just doing a little test. Okay, no worries. Thanking you. Joe, can you hear me? Anyone in the studio that can hear me and just confirm whether or not we are online? Yeah, can you just confirm if we're online, please? Excellent. Well, good morning from Canterbury. Day 2 of Kent against Middlesex in the Bob Willis Trophy. Going to be up and running very shortly. Kent players are just loitering around by the boundary, listening to a few words from their captain Sam Billings. Cheering them up ahead of a resumption of action. The 2 Middlesex not-out batsmen are poised and ready to enter from the opposite side of the field. They're based out of the Les Ames stand due to COVID protocols. There's the 2 umpires. Something's creaking outside. There we go. The 2 umpires ready to step out into the field, and I think we're going to be getting underway promptly at 11 o'clock. My name's Ben Watts from BBC Radio Kent. That's my computer, so there we go. I'm pretty sure you're all hearing this loud and clear on the stream. So Kevin Hand from BBC Radio London will be alongside me shortly, and we've also got former Kent all-rounder Fabian Cowdrey with us for day 2. Looking forward to a return to the commentary box, chomping at the bit to see some cricket. So welcome wherever you are listening, and if you're watching the live stream as well. We only had 9.3 overs of action on day 1. Only one real significant piece of action, and that was the wicket of Max Holden, caught and bowled by Matt Milnes. Rather peculiarly, as he went up for an LBW appeal, spun around, caught the ball. Umpire said, well, it's not an LBW because he's hit it. But he hit it into his pad, ballooned up, and Milnes caught it. So that was the 1 wicket of the day. 9.3 overs, the only sum that was possible. And by the end of the day, we had a stream of water running from the middle of the wicket down towards the Lime Tree Cafe. But outfield looks good. It drains well here because of the slope. And although it's grey overhead still today, and we are perhaps expecting some weather interruptions later on, we're ready to go, or at least Darren Stevens was. Umpire Long not so much. Eskenazi then to take strike. And Darren Stevens in with 3 slips. Bowls down the leg side to start with. But we're up and running, and we're up and running a minute early as well. Kevin Hand.
Hey, they keep doing this to me. A minute early? This isn't like cricketers.
They're keen to get on with it.
Hey, you're good though. You were 2 minutes early, and that's the important thing. Morning, Ben. Morning, everyone. We've got cricket. It was horrible yesterday, wasn't it? Miserable day.
Yeah, it really was. Stevens again. 3 slips. Point cover, mid-on, mid-off, mid-wicket. Long leg, and this one's pushed up towards the mid-on fielder, but intercepted by mid-wicket.
They kept doing it to Kevin James and I at Radlett last week. Is this a Bob Willis Trophy thing? You have to start a minute before the scheduled start time. Every session as well.
There was
Jamie and I were running back and forth, and there was nowhere for it to go. We were running in a marquee.
Yeah. I can't remember which game it was, but one of the Kent games, they started at 3 minutes past 11. I was thinking, this is a bit lax.
Standard.
Stevens in, clipped up towards cover, played nicely by Eskenazi. Those are the 3 balls that were remaining in the 10th over, which was halted and we didn't get through yesterday. Middlesex 22 for 1.
Hey, Fultz has aged well, hasn't he? Overnight. Fabian Cowdrey with us today. Lovely to meet him at last. We've had a few exchanges on Twitter. I think the famous ones, it might have been you actually, or was it Matt at Lord's with DT and I? Fabian tunes in, it says, "Cool, sounds like you got hands full with these two, Matt."
I think it was Matt, yeah.
Yeah. Have you met DT yet?
Yeah, I have.
You have? My sympathies. Yep, famous old Middlesex commentator of years gone by, and now just pesterer of mics up and down the country, isn't he? Morning to the great fella, if he is tuned in. I was in contact with him this morning. On the other side of the world at the moment, though, so it'll be a little late in the day for him over there.
Doesn't sound too bad.
Well, not with the weather we had here yesterday, that's for sure. Humid this morning again, isn't it? And very overcast. There's a threat of rain throughout the day. The best chance, I think, for us to see lots of cricket today is that there's one big shower this afternoon, looking at that forecast, but gets out of the way and lets us get on with it later. And hopefully we get a good chunk in this morning. Here's Milnes running in, right arm over the wicket. He bowls, and that's left alone outside the off stump by Robson on 17. 34 deliveries for him now, and a bit of a dig-in required for Robson and for Eskenazi here, both short on runs, and dating over a couple of years really. Stuart Law spoke about it on interview last night, that Robson knows he needs more runs.
Just an update coming from BBC Radio Kent. Yeah, a bit brighter here too, as Matt Milnes is in and bowling to Robson, defended into the onside. Middlesex 22 for 1. We've seen the completion of the 10th over yesterday, that when the play was disrupted due to the rain, just 9.3 overs possible. So Darren Stevens has finished up his over. Matt Milnes, the one man to take a wicket yesterday, that of Holden, caught and bowled for 2. So a very disrupted day yesterday. We're hoping for better today, although the forecast for this afternoon could perhaps halt progress in this Bob Willis Trophy match. But Kent looking for wickets after winning the toss and bowling first yesterday. Middlesex 22 for 1. Commentary continues online.
Well done, Ben. That one left alone outside of the off stump again from Robson. Just finding his line at the moment, Milnes. The line to Robson, obviously hitting the top of off regularly at this moment. There's plenty of movement in that pitch, isn't there? Through the air as well.
Floodlights
cloud
just
cover.
coming on as well, yeah.
It's all there for the bowlers at the moment, so a tough morning it should be for the batsmen, as forward goes Robson, little inside edge onto the pads, and well, fortunately for Robson, unlike Holden yesterday, that didn't loop back for Milnes at all, although he charged for a moment, didn't he, thinking that it might just pop up off the pad. But a dot ball, it drops harmlessly into the onside. Yeah, I think, you know, it looks as though we're going to lose a fair bit of time over the 4 days of this game, if the forecast is to be believed. So there's enough in this pitch, I'd suggest, that actually we'll have a fair game ongoing in between the showers.
And of course bonus points will be important as well.
Yeah. Milnes with 3 slips in a gully. Passes the umpire now, he bowls, and that's left alone outside of the off stump. Good pace and bounce on that one, nipping away. And taken nearly in front of second, wasn't it? Well, this is the thing. I mean, bonus points are going to be crucial because you have to win your group, but you have to beat the points return of one of the other teams from the other group, don't you? So, but first and foremost, you've got to win your matches as well, haven't you? I mean, that's the big points haul. And Middlesex be really disappointed with that Hampshire defeat, because they'll have felt actually they were playing pretty well up to those final couple of days. The collapse with the bat in the second innings was crucial. They were slightly light on the first innings as well, as Milnes is in, bowls, and forward goes Robson, pushing into the offside, and there's no run. All of that said as well, Hampshire were 2 down for a lot of the match with Dawson's injury and Stevenson's injury, and they were missing a whole load of their players that were overseas for various reasons we don't need to go into, but all parts of the world they were coming from to play for Hampshire this year. And so yeah, they were below strength, and then also a couple of men down, so Middlesex will be disappointed that they lost that game, because it would have been 2 from 2, and at the moment it's everybody's got to stop Essex really, isn't it? So
yeah, very much so.
And the only way to stop Essex is the wins column. But as you say, bonus points are important as well, but I'd say with these bowling conditions this morning, Middlesex are just thinking about being solid really.
Stevens continuing from the pavilion end, full delivery which is jammed out into the offside by Eskenazi. Yeah, certainly Essex look like the team to beat. Kent narrowly defeated by them in their opening game, and then Essex also beating Surrey. So Kent's big victory against Sussex, putting them second in the group, but still pretty tight apart from Surrey, who already look a little bit cut adrift at the bottom after a couple of defeats. As Stevens is in again, driven, timed sweetly, but straight to Bell Drummond at cover.
Yeah, skipper's under pressure, Eskenazi as well, especially with Tom Lace's departure this week. You know, that he needs to chip in with a few runs. Robson probably primarily actually, and shift everybody up one. Of course, Gubbins, with the unfortunate absence of this match, like Cox, would have added to that competition for places.
Stevens in bowling. A little bit of a way swing. Beautiful bowling from Darren Stevens. We've got a lovely position in our commentary box with the pitch pretty much in the centre of the strip here at Canterbury.
But yeah, with all that in mind, this is probably the most bowler-friendly day that a Middlesex batsman has faced this season, and yesterday. But obviously it was a very short passage we had yesterday.
Stevens bowls on leg stump, turned away into the leg side by Eskenazi at the moment. Just very much looking to dig in and survive. So far he's got 2 from 23 balls, so if his strike rate up on the scoreboard over on the far side, which is 8.7 at the moment.
And then take that one step further, they're up against an absolute beaut in Darren Stevens. Man, you probably wouldn't want to be facing on a day like this. Like Tim Murphy, it'll be disappointing, I'm sure, to miss out on this one in the shortened season, but they've got to rotate those bowlers to give everyone a go.
Stevens bowls well wide of the off stump. Harmless to let that one go for Eskenazi. Got a delivery remaining in the over. Kent's fielders were doing a good bit of slip catching prior to play. There was one particularly nice piece of play where O'Riordan spilt one, palmed it up and leaning, just grabbed it left-handed, just stretched in behind him. They'll be hoping they won't need to be helping each other out with any slip catches that come their way as Stevens is in and bowling. Oh, big drive from Eskenazi. That one almost, from Kent's point of view, did too much. Stevens beating the outside edge of the bat, maiden over. So far his figures 6 overs, 2 maidens, none for 8. Middlesex still remain after what we've had 2.5 overs, still remain on their overnight score of 22 for 1.
Yeah, I think Eskenazi took about 17 or 18 balls to get off the mark, didn't he? And Stuart Laws talked about the change in mindset for the Middlesex batting in how they recover from the fall from the championship year of 2016 when the batting's really been below par since then. So here's Milnes bowls, that's left alone outside of the off stump by Robson on the back foot. And part of that is this first innings, the beginning of this first innings, that look, you know, you get through to lunch 60 for 1, not 100 for 3, 100 for 4. Dig in and try and make the bowlers pay later.
Mm-hmm.
So that will very much be the job of these two, but there's that added pressure, and I think you can see that in Eskenazi's shots at the end of the last over. A little shuffle, fair enough, to try and negate the swing, negate the movement, but then the drive that followed was a little bit of pressure, I think, as Milnes bowls outside the off stump, and swings away through to the gloves of the keeper once more, left alone by Robson. But I mean, look, as we've been saying all season, it's just lovely to see a bit of cricket, isn't it? And what we've got out there is a belter of a test for these two. Kent will be on top of them for a long, long time this morning, and for as long as they're out there, really, unless one of them can get to that half century, and that eases a little bit for the batsman, doesn't it? Just notching off that first 50 of the summer. So Robson awaits, and Milnes bowls, forward goes Robson, pushing back up the track. There's no run. I think the words are along the lines of he's a top quality player, Sam Robson, but he knows he's been short on runs for a few years now. Stuart Law said last night, actually the interview I did with him, it crashed on the last question, and I only got half of it, so I think when it was put out by the BBC and by Middlesex, the last question just got lopped off because it fell halfway through. But he did mention Tom Lace as well, and you know, we were talking about the selection of Anderson and the chance for him and how he's really grabbed it this year. As in comes Milnes, and lovely ball swinging on that off stump, just gently forward and rotating the strike with a single in between mid-off and point. Well played by Robson. He just felt he felt confident enough to be forward, and that he wasn't going to be playing it up off a high outside edge or off the splice. He was able to get right on top of that one and drop the single into the offside. 23 for 1. Down he comes to have a natter with Eskenazi. Just give him a quick word of advice. That definitely wasn't about where they'll be dining tonight. That was a little note, wasn't it, for Eskenazi facing Milnes for the first time this morning. 2 balls to go, Milnes 7th over, 1 for 14, 3 maidens, and he's in to bowl Eskenazi wide on the crease. He defends off, and into the offside it goes, fielded at point. And he just said, you know, I think the point was actually on Gubbins, you know, that Gubbins was, you know, really unfortunate because he's grabbed his chance, and that was what he was saying for Davis making his debut in this match. He's got to grab that chance. It's not just a chance, he's got to grab it. and that's what he wants to see from players coming into the side. This isn't, oh, it's nice that he's got a chance. It's a chance that you have to grab with both hands, and so Gubbins had done that this season. And he said, yeah, look, you know, all of the lads that made the side this year had grabbed their chance in pre-season, and that's what selection was based on. As this ball's full and driven away by Eskenazi uppishly in front of point. It looked a little loose, didn't it, from Eskenazi, that one, but it gets him a boundary, and he moves to 6 from 27. Middlesex are 27 for 1 as Robson will have strike, and Milnes 1 for 18 for 7 now with 3 maidens. Just felt as though he's playing a little bit stretching for that one, opening the face as well. I have to admit I lost it off the bat, but it looked to me as though it was aerial in front of point for a while.
Yeah, I think it was, although safe enough in the end because it quite comfortably cleared that fielder and went away for 4 runs. Just on your point on Sam Robson, I was just looking up when he played for England and had that brief period in the Test side, and 2014 feels like a long time ago now.
Yeah.
27 for 1. Stevens in and bowling. Just a point as well, as this one's left alone. Christine emailed in on kentcricket@gmail.com saying, why are there 98 overs due today? Of course, that's now down to 94.5, but presumably because of trying to make up for a bit of lost time.
Forgot about that one. It's new. Down to 90 overs this season. Yeah, I was just expecting the 90 today. That's good. So hopefully we can make up a bit, but again, we expect interruptions once more on day 2.
Yeah, if we get through 98 overs, I'll be stunned. That Stevens is in, clipped away up the slope. Matt Milnes is racing around the boundary to try and prevent 4. He'll save a couple of runs. Eskenazi gets back for 2. Yeah, grey skies overhead, floodlights on. But if you do want to contact us, kentcricket@gmail.com and at BBC Kent Sport on Twitter. What's your own handle, Kev?
At Kevin Hand BBC. I tell you what, those boys will feel a little bit better now with some runs off the bat, but again, I go back to that mantra that Stuart Law's trying to put into them: be 60 for 1 at the end of the session. You know, right, you got a couple of runs, but this is a dig in. This is really get your head down. Don't give it away with the loose one.
Stevens in. Big shout for LBW, but that pad looked well outside the off stump, playing a stroke.
Yeah, I'd go with that, definitely. They went up, but they went down just as quick, didn't they, in that appeal? But yeah, just those thoughts. He said, look, you know, selection at the start of the summer was based on pre-season, and that's how things have to be. And in pre-season there was some impressive performances, including Anderson. He said Gubbins was scoring runs for fun in pre-season, and that's how selection went. So a shame to lose some, but a chance for others.
Stevens in and bowling. Another beauty of an away swinger, which Robson feels for and plays for as it goes through to Robinson.
And just to reiterate Dave Fulton's point, so we had a couple of messages on it again this morning. You know, Lace thing's been a talking point all week. And a former agent himself, of course, Fultz. An agent's involved, and an agent makes money when a player moves counties. Or as much as makes money, they're doing their job when a player moves counties. If they stay at the county, they're not particularly doing their job.
Stevens is in. Back goes Robson, unless
more to the point, what is the point of their job for players?
Yeah,
he got a brand new contract at the back end of last season. The county were desperate to keep him.
Yeah.
And he'd have played this round. The county really wanted him to stay, so in the end, as the agreement, as the statement said, Middlesex agreed to release him. So a shame, but you know, there are a couple of other youngsters at the moment that look as though they're ready to step up, and next year when Peter Hanscom arrives, then, you know, it's a big boost for that batting lineup.
Stevens bowls well outside the off stump, and this swings further away, left well alone by Robson. End of the 14th over of the Middlesex innings. They're 29 for 1. Here the visitors on day 2 of this Bob Willis Trophy game here on BBC Radio Kent, BBC Radio London. Myself, Ben Watson, Kevin Hand here at Canterbury, watching on in the slight gloom, admittedly, but all okay at the moment for cricket to continue, and it's dry enough out there as well, which is perhaps the most important thing.
There's Eskenazi on strike again. The floodlights glint off his bat as he takes his stance now. 3 slips gully, point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, long leg, and Milnes is in. Bowls outside the off stump, shaping away again from the right hand with a good stride, leaving alone. You know, wouldn't it just be typical? They've had a couple of decent chances to score runs, including crucial chances against Hampshire last week, but on a day like this, one of them goes and produces those runs in what could be a rain-affected match, but that's cricket, isn't it? But important for the individuals here, like I say, that one of them at least just gets that monkey off their back and gets a decent score. Robson got into the 30s, I think. Yeah, Surrey is his. Milnes bowls, and Eskenazi eases 2 points. There is no run. But Eskenazi 18, his first 3 innings of the season, and then got out to a horrible shot in that collapse against Hampshire, where Middlesex were, as in his own words, Middlesex just needed to have a really good 45 minutes of that match, and they'd have probably won the game there in their second innings, but then they collapsed, and Hampshire won by 3 wickets when probably Middlesex only needed 1 to win it with the 2 walking wounded that Hampshire had. It would have been desperately difficult for Stevenson going out to bat with that gashed shin, as this ball's full to Eskenazi, just about gets that bat down in front of the front pad. Not a big stride in on that one, but really had to get the bat down in time and get it around that pad, defending that one, and Mills is just about started to put a hand up in the air. He was just about to get excited.
Given you were talking about form in pre-season, what did Middlesex do in terms of their pre-season matches?
Well, I mean, how far back do you want to go? Because pre-season started a long while ago now, didn't it? Last October, November, but yeah, obviously they all got back together, and it started back in the UK. There's a trip out to Oman for Middlesex. Here's Milnes. He bowls, that's edged, and just short, was it, of second slipper as he put it down. Slip fell to his right along my line of sight. Second slip fell to his left. It wouldn't have reached slip going to his right, and second going to his left. I'm not sure whether he just got his hands onto that or whether it just popped out of the ground, popped back out of the hands onto the ground.
Leaning's reaction looks like a disappointed man, but for what reason it's hard for us to tell. You might have had a better view perhaps on the live stream.
Have you got it up in front of you there? I'll have a, so to speak, sorry Ben.
I'll have a look. See if we can get a replay.
Here's Milnes bowls, and this ball gets an inside edge down to long leg for Eskenazi, moves to 7, 30 for 1. That one went over your head, fortunately. Hopefully it went over the listener's head as well. Didn't quite come out as I meant. Robson back onto strike against Milnes. 1 for 19 from 7.5 for Milnes, and that one was Max Holden yesterday. Caught and bowled. Huge booming ball looping back off the inside edge onto the pad, and then up in the air it went as Milnes was appealing LBW, then quickly turned to catch the ball. He's in now, bowls, that's left alone by Robson through to the keeper. And bounce, movement, pace, taken in front of slip, but a good leave by Robson. 30 for 1, Eskenazi will have strike on 7, and Robson has 20. You got the replay there? Yeah.
It's coming.
You're scrubbing, Ben, you're scrubbing.
It's coming.
You're doing high speed scrubbing.
I think I'm a ball behind. Nice panoramic shots of the ground. Admittedly, it's looking or missing something rather crucial, which is of course all the spectators that would normally be here.
I mean, certainly the edge was heading towards the ground, but my inkling was that it carried, even though I had 2 players blocking me.
Stevens in, down the leg side, good take by Ollie Robinson. I think I'm just about to see the replay now. Yeah, carried.
Yeah.
Definitely carried.
Big moment for Eskenazi. Can he take it?
Probably should have caught it as well, Jack Leaning. It was low down, was dipping, but yeah, disappointing one for him.
It was a match of dropped catches at Radlett last week as well.
There's Stevens well outside the off stump, left alone by Eskenazi. You're at 7, Robson 20, Middlesex 30 for 1.
As Weatherly and Anderson for Hampshire and Middlesex respectively made it into the nervous 90s. 2 youngsters fell at that stage, but both were dropped in the 20s as well. But across the match in general, there were numerous dropped catches. And both, whoever lost the match is always going to look back on the drop catches. Hampshire dropped enough, but they won them as they did win the match.
Stevens bowls, away swinger left alone.
And by more patient batting as well, which, going back to the Sussex game here, which obviously caught the headlines, didn't it? And that was something Jason Gillespie said about Sussex in the game, that, Kent really batted patiently and got the extra runs. They deserved it. Sussex should have got more in the second innings, and obviously in the second innings should have gone better than that. But Hampshire, that was probably the edge in that match for me last week at Radlett. You can look at decisions on the final day.
Stevens, full delivery, once more left alone.
But it was patience with the bat from North East, primarily from Weatherly, in that first innings that rewarded Hampshire. And actually, in the run chase for 158, which was really tricky, especially given the fact that Dawson wasn't there to bat at 6. And Stevenson, if he had to have come out at 10, because there wouldn't have been a Dawson, wouldn't have been a possibility for Dawson's bat at all. Then he'd have come out with a heavily gashed shin, and no pad was protecting the pain that shin would have had.
Stevens bowls, a couple of former Kent names in there. You said Weatherly and North East. Did you play with Joe Weatherly, Fabian? No, just Sam, obviously.
But yeah, they really did. They batted patiently, and it was excellent from them. And actually, that 158, I think it was the 61st over when they knocked it off. And when you're chasing on a pitch that's offering a bit to the bowlers and was deteriorating as well for the spinners, my hands to Kevin James is, look, if they take 60-odd overs to do this, I reckon they're bowled out by then. So huge credit to them.
Darren Stevens once more, driven this slightly fuller delivery up towards Joe Denley at mid-off, end of another over, another Darren Stevens maiden, 8 overs for him, 3 maidens, none for 10.
But a fascinating start, it's been wonderful watching Kent start the season as well. They've had a couple of great games, haven't they?
Yeah, the Essex game was a real thriller. They looked like they were struggling. I think we might be having one of our sanitisation breaks, are we?
Yeah, was it 6 overs? Every 6 overs? 20 minutes? So there or thereabouts.
Here comes Harry Podmore, looking like
Podders. The former Middlesex man.
He's covered head to toe. He's got long sleeve top on. He's got white gloves on. He's got a big mask on. His bright yellow bib. It looks like he's a nurse about to administer a...
He'll love this. He'll absolutely love getting dressed up like this. He's mad, Harry Podmore. Absolutely mad.
He often is, along with Ivan Thomas, often is the man that seems to appear with the hand gel.
He'll love it. He'll absolutely thrive in that
jogging off now as well.
There'll be a big grin under that mask he's got on at the moment.
Apart from the fact that he's not playing cricket, which he loves to do as well.
Yeah.
He does seem to be enjoying himself. Bowled well last week, but not involved against his former county.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed by that, and Middlesex will be relieved, I'm sure. I mean, look, Milnes and Stevens are great, but you know what it's like against your former county. There's always that extra little 5% that comes from summer, isn't there? And you had a couple of really great days for Middlesex. One down at Somerset, where he outbowled Fuller and Harris in that match, helping the Middlesex win. Here's Milnes, he's in, bowls, and Robson forward. Nearly played around that one, just about kept the bat face open. Along the floor it goes up to mid-off. He wasn't a long way forward though. And just the shape on that ball worrying Robson, but he gets the bat down. There's not many games underway at the moment actually, is there? England are playing. Pakistan are 236 for 9. Worcestershire 117 for 5 at Northamptonshire. Surrey are 96 for 5 at Hampshire at Arundel, not a million miles away from here. So here goes Milnes, bowls, and that comes back in, beats the inside edge, does it. Huge appeal for LBW. It's a very, very good shout. Did he just get outside the line? Umpire Bainton, I think, says so. My instinct was there wasn't even a little smidgen of bat involved in that. It must have been that he just got outside the line.
As you say, I've just seen it again. It was a very good shout.
I was expecting the finger to go up, I've got to say. Are you able to go back? To do that little thing, you tap it twice and it goes back 10 seconds? Oh, you don't know the tricks yet, Ben. Oh, you do? Oh, he's clever, this fella, isn't he? Oh, not that clever, look. He's made a mess of it now.
What an error.
Milnes to Robson. He hits the crease, bowls, and forward goes Robson, pushing back up the track. There's no run.
I think this is it. Nope.
No, it's Eskenazi, isn't it? Yeah. 34-1, or is it? No, that is Robson, you're right, but wasn't the ball. How close do they get it to the action on the stream here? It looks as though they're very tight. Usually it's a couple of balls behind, isn't it? But the stream looks...
I think it is.
Express pace. Just finishing those other scores, by the way. Sussex 102 for 3 against Essex. As Milnes widen the crease again. Bowls and beats the edge of Robson. They half go up in celebration, but never turned it into an appeal or a full celebration. Really shaked away though, beating the edge of that bat. And tough times out there for the batsmen this morning. This is not easy going at all.
Pakistan are all out, by the way. Just saw on replay of Crawley taking the catch, the Kent boy in the team. Back in the side with Stokes being absent.
Oh, that was a very good shout. High? Yeah.
Height.
Fabian behind us going with high.
I think height is as much as possible. Umpires call on the hitting line of off stump, as you said.
Robson's on 20, Milnes is in, bowls, and Robson plays defensively up to mid-on, and there's no one. I tell you what, his heart would have been in his mouth though, Robson. Like I say, short on runs at the moment. He's on 20. Eskenazi's had a dropped catch at second slip. Both of them, I mean, for me, when you've got an appeal as big as that one, that counts as a life. He'd have really looked up with great concern at umpire Bainton.
Yeah, I think umpire Bainton tends to give the batsman the benefit of the doubt on some of those tight ones. From certainly when I've seen him a couple of times this season. Oh, I think I've seen him once this season in action.
This one's just full of length outside of the off stump. Good pace and bounce again from Milnes through to the keeper. It goes. Robson leaves alone. 32-1. I'll tell you what, Bainton did the last match at Radlett, and he was not a giver on the LBW. He's definitely not in that match. But I have to say, in previous year, yes, I always had Bainton as a giver for sure.
Yeah.
I really thought the finger was going up on that occasion. But Robson survives. Maiden over for Milnes, and pressure maintained here by Kent. A solid start for both, but it's not without that little bit of luck for Middlesex on the drop catch for sure. And just maybe, is it clipping the bails on Hawkeye for Robson? Umpire's decision.
Pakistan 236 all out, by the way. It was Rizwan caught Crawley bowled broad for 72. The keeper as Stevens is in. Left alone outside the off stump. I'll try and watch the next ball, shall I?
It's alright, you have me making an absolute mess of trying to show you that you left the ball.
Robson 20, Eskenazi 7. Still got 90 overs remaining today. If we can get anywhere near that, we'll be pleased. As Stevens is in, once more shouldering arms at this delivery. Kept a little bit low from Darren Stevens. Through to Ollie Robinson. Have an update for BBC Radio Kent in a couple of minutes' time, and then after that, get Fabian Cowdrey on mic for the first time this season. As Darren Stevens once more just looking a little bit brighter out there as an expert forward defensive stroke comes out of the locker of Eskenazi, played away into the covers. Could even see the sun a little bit through the haze of cloud overhead.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'd be great to get a session in, wouldn't it, this morning? There's definitely going to be a bit of rain around this afternoon. Looking at that forecast, it's impossible to think we're going to avoid what's forecast this afternoon, but then there's the possibility of another good session this evening.
Stevens in and bowling. Oh, inside edge into the ground from Eskenazi. That wasn't far away from creeping through the defence.
Just held its line, didn't it, on Eskenazi? And I mean, that's the thing. It's like what Murtagh does all the time. You just don't know inside or outside edge. Murtagh has the wonderful ability to seam it back in to the right hander now. For all those years having that booming away swing to the to a right-hander, in swing to a left-hander, but I remember him talking to me about it. Certainly when he arrived at Middlesex, it swung out of the hand, and just getting it to swing that bit later, but also the ability just to nip one back up the slope at Lords.
Stevens again. This one does swing away from the batsman. It's nicely played, softly guided, backward a point. Little chase on for Kadri, and Eskenazi will comfortably jog back for a couple. Takes the score on to 32 for 1.
And for Stevens here, it's a very similar problem for the batsman, isn't it? Inside and outside edge are very much in play.
Yeah, very much so. There was a couple of deliveries he bowled last week against Sussex from the other end, admittedly, at the Nackington Road end, to both Delroy Rawlins and Garton, and he bowled both of them as he bowls again. This one edged, is it, and caught by Ollie Robinson, one-handed in front of first slip. An excellent take by the wicketkeeper, and for all Eskenazi's hard work, his 44th delivery, he is dismissed for 9, caught behind off the bowling of Darren Stevens, and Kent get their first breakthrough of the morning. Middlesex 32 for 2.
What did we just say? He's got an inside edge on the ball before, with that one holding its line on the off stump, and the next one, big swing away, dragged him forward. He tried to get forward to it, but he was aware, look, you know, inside and outside edge are in play. He played a line that took the edge, and the rough run continues for Eskenazi, and you could see him dragging himself off. He just held the position for a while, and I did wonder at that point whether that was a case of, oh, how do I play that? That was a great ball, or whether it was that sinking resignation as his head slowly dropped it. It revealed it, didn't it? Yep, that definitely nicked off through to the keeper. But he's dragged himself off there, the Middlesex captain. He scored 29 in the second innings against Hampshire, but before that 18, 18, 18 was his run. And now he departs here without particularly troubling the scorers once more, and another drop. But it is very, very testing out there, as we said for the batsmen this morning. This is not going to be an easy session for Middlesex. 32 for 2. And Robbie White comes out at number 4. No Gubbins at 3, so Eskenazi went up 1. Anderson then will keep his place at 5, you'd have to imagine. But Robbie White comes in. He understudy to John Simpson. Got a little go under Richard Johnson when Johnson took over as interim coach after the departure of Richard Scott in 2018. Didn't make much of an impression with the bat at that point, but I know that over the years they've always regarded him really highly as a batsman. Take keeping out of the equation, and this is a huge chance for him in this match to get back into the team and make that impression again. Davis, we talked about, obviously trying to grab his chance on debut, but this is definitely a moment for White to try and grab his opportunity as well. I think his debut match for Middlesex, he got a first baller leaving the ball alone, and there was a horrible picture of the off stump out of the ground behind him, leaving well alone. So here's Milnes in to bowl to Robson, who leaves alone a length ball outside of the off stump, and through it goes.
Yeah, never nice on your debut.
No.
When a photographer manages to time one to perfection. Update for BBC Radio Kent on the way. After that, you'll be hearing from former Kent all-rounder Fabian Cowdrey alongside Kevin Hand. Myself, Ben Watts, here watching on. Here's Milnes ducking out wide to bowl this one, which is defended well by Robson. Yeah, we only had 9.3 overs on day one. We've had a good half an hour's play so far though on day two, and Kent have just taken their first wicket. They won the toss and bowled first yesterday. Milnes got Holden for 2 yesterday, and Darren Stevens has just got rid of Eskenazi for 9, caught behind by Ollie Robinson. An excellent catch by the young 21-year-old wicketkeeper, diving in front of first slip, taking it one-handed low down to his right. So Kent with the breakthrough after, prior to that, Middlesex looking pretty solid in very difficult conditions for batting. Gloomy overhead, ball swinging around off the pitch, and floodlights on as well. So Kent will be looking to make hay while the conditions are in their favour. Commentary continuing online with Middlesex 32 for 2.
Thanks, Ben. See you in a bit. Solid start here for both really, up to that edge from Eskenazi. He'll be so disappointed. Just got a little bit further through it, get past these bowlers, the change as his Milnes in bowls, and Robson's forward defending into the offside. It's fielded at mid-off and no run. 32 for 2 and 2 balls to go the over. Fabian, how nice to share the mic with you at last.
Well, it's been over a year since I've been on the mic, so I feel it's my first game ever again. All of the experience goes out the window. I feel like I'm making my debut.
What have you been doing for a year then? Well, we know what we've all been doing the last few months, but what were you doing the back end of last season? Yeah, off on tour somewhere, were you? Or?
No. Trying to set up a business in London and keep that moving forward.
In comes Milnes, bowls, and this ball's edged along the floor, fine a gully, and it's going to go for 4 down to the vacant third man. Robson's on to 24, Middlesex 36 for 2.
But it's great to be back. As you said, it's perfect bowling conditions, slightly humid, overcast, Darren Stevens territory, and it's been great to watch the old man get at it again. Tough for Eskenazi. He got a good ball there, typical Stevens, dragging the hands away from the body, and Ollie Robinson behind the stumps has always been brilliant with the gloves. Good to see some youngsters in the Kent side as well. First time I've seen them, of course, in over a year, and really disappointed that Jordan Cox isn't on display after his massive double 100, and 19-year-old scoring a double 100. Quite exceptional stuff.
Oh, my heart really goes out to him, it does. Genuinely mean that. Horrible for the lad as this ball's just full of a length to Robson. Eased away to mid-wicket off the inside edge of Robson's bat. He's on 24, 36 for 2. White to have strike. I mean, as soon as I read it, I just didn't think, silly mistake, youngster. I just felt for him. What a horrible feeling for him. I mean, he's just done something absolutely brilliant. He's done something that in any walk of life, in any other time in human history, would have been absolutely fine. Well, they didn't have camera phones around that long ago, did they? But you know what I mean. It's just the simple gesture, and then all of a sudden he's out of the game. So, huge sympathy for him.
Yeah, well, an astonishing performance. I think Stuart Broad on Twitter was quick to notice the incredible nature of his achievement, really. but he'll be back, I'm sure, and with 200 under the belt in county championship cricket early on in his career, that will really give him the confidence and the drive to go and score some more big runs.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope so. Nick Gubbins obviously misses the match for the same reason. He was alerted by test and trace, isn't it? I think that he was in the vicinity of somebody.
Stevens in then, full of a length, nicked through third man, thick outside edge. They'll come back for 2. Profitable runs, good length again from Stevens, challenging the outside edge of the bat. Heard Ben say earlier that he's a real superstar for challenging the inside and outside edge of these top order batsmen in the county championship. He keeps you thinking. That's the thing with Darren Stevens. He's just about quick enough to find the outside edge of your bat. You watch on and think, oh, how on earth is he dismissing these top order batsmen at the pace he's bowling? But I promise you, he's one of the most skillful men in professional cricket these days, and still at the tender age of 44. Here he is again, full of a length, swinging away towards the slip cordon and blocked delicately into the offside to Joe Denley, who's back in Kent colours this week.
That was that ball that I talked about from Murtagh in his early days, when it swings early out of the hand. The batsman's able to set up, isn't it? But with Stevens now, much like Murtagh, it's a box of tricks. He'll swing one early out of the hand like that, then the next one he'll swing late, and that's when the batsman's in trouble.
Here he is again, Darren Stevens, full of a length and a play and miss outside of stump. Late away swing through to Ollie Robinson. White just trying to nervously push that through cover. Yeah, so the other ends of their career are Stevens and White, and I'm sure Stevens will know exactly what he's doing here. The one thing about Darren as well is the purchase he gets off the wicket. It's not just a swing you have to be wary of. He does have a seam ball that just nips back towards the stumps and challenges the pads. Here he is again. Play and miss again outside the off stump, full of a length. I wouldn't be surprised if Stevens looks to swing the ball back here at White now. He's shaped a couple away. He knows that White's tentative around his off stump, and he'll bring the pads into play, I'm sure.
I wouldn't be surprised as well if Robson tries to get down that end and just help out White here. I mean, Robson's desperate for runs, obviously, but he's the senior man, and he can see the youngster here up against Stevens. He's really up against it, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is. Here he is, Stevens again. Just has to feel bad on ball. Left alone outside the off stump, full of a length through to Robinson. And 38 for 2 here at Canterbury.
Cracking player, he's a cracking guy as well, Sam Robson, cracking team man, and yeah, he won't be leaving that youngster on his own down there without a few words of advice. And like I say, he's man enough that he'll know he's in trouble himself with the bat, but he'll still try and help that youngster and say, all right, look, try and have a bit of Milnes and get yourself in, which is no easy task either, is it?
No, not at all. Stevens has just gone past 800 wickets. Here he is again looking for 801, left alone outside the off stump. 800 career wickets for Darren Stevens, so a huge round of applause from wherever you are around the country following Kent cricket. It's an astonishing achievement. End of the over, 38 for 2.
That's amazing, isn't it? And you know, you talked about what he does and his pace, but that control, Stephen Eskenazi said after the match at the Oval, when Tim Murtagh turned 39, and I think he picked up 7 for in that match. He's got 14 for the season now, because he picked up 7 for last week as well. And Eskenazi said, I wish I could explain it, because, you know, at the pace, you think no, but he said the skill level and the control that he has of the ball is just remarkable, and that's exactly Darren Stevens as well, isn't it? Here's Milnes to Robson, bowls a beauty, lifts past the edge through to the keeper. Bit of bounce on that again from Milnes, shaping away.
It begs the question when you look at bowlers like Mohammad Abbas playing for Pakistan now, who's not express pace but has all the skills, all the trickery. Why England may not have invested in a David Masters or even a Darren Stevens for a few test matches, or those types of bowlers who really are skillful at a lesser pace.
Well, look at Murtagh against England for Ireland when he got his test match. It was at Lords as well, which helps, doesn't it? Mentioning Abbas, England are 0 for 1. It could be about to be 0 for 2, I think. There's a review going on. I don't think the review is of the first wicket. I think that one has gone. I think this is a review of the second innings, which is shaping down by the looks of it, so they're going to be okay, aren't they?
It's touch and go. Tight. Touch and go. I think it's that Crawley as well, Kent man, who's been trapped very close to being in front there. Unless he's got an inside edge, it could be very tight, that one.
It's not Abbas actually, is it? He's got the opening wicket. I assume they're in the opening over. Here's Milnes, he's in, bowls, and that inside edge onto the pad, pops away into the offside. There's no run again. They thought they were past him. He's just got a little inside edge on that. Snicko's picked it up, or ultra edge. He's just got a little inside edge.
I've got to say, I think Milnes has supported Darren Stevens really well this morning. He's hardly bowled a bad ball. And when you've got someone who's got it on a metronome around off stump like Darren Stevens, who has the ability to nip it both ways, and you've got Milnes at the other end tying it up. You just don't know where your next run's coming from.
Milnes to Robson. Bowls outside the off stumps, left alone through to the keeper. Yep, England are 0 for 1. Burns has gone. Crawley survives that. I think they're still in the first over as well, aren't they? That was the 5th ball of the Middlesex inning, the England innings. Shaheen, left arm over with the appeal. Oh, he's just shaped on over the top of middle stump as well to Crawley. Good leave.
They've got some very talented young bowlers of the Pakistan outfit. It's incredible to watch. And over the next few years, I think we'll be in for a treat watching them play on the international stage.
Yeah, they do turn out those fast bowlers, don't they? It's wonderful. Here is a length ball from Milnes, pushed away into the offside and defended by Robson to mid-off. Just the history of fantastic seam bowlers that they produce, and swing bowlers, of course.
Yeah, it's been magical to listen to Wasim Akram as well on commentary over the past few days, talk about the history of Pakistan cricket and the ability they have with the ball, with the new ball, with the old ball, the reverse swing of Waqar Younis, the bouncer of Wasim Akram with little front arm movement. It would have been a horrible, horrible proposition for a batsman back in the day.
Absolutely. Here's Milnes. 2 balls to go, his 11th over. He bowls to Robson, who defends to mid-wicket. There's no on that. Gullyfield has just tightened up to a wide 4th slip now after that one that did edge along the floor before.
Just touching on that sort of Pakistan opening outfit of Waqar Younis and Wasim Akram, facing that without a grill or without some proper protection as well, when they had those rapid bounces. And you look back at that era of cricket, and even in my old man's era when he was playing for Kent in the 70s and 80s, I don't know how they faced the likes of Michael Holding without helmets.
Yeah. Robson awaits as Milnes is in. Bowls outside of the off stump. Through it goes. 38 for 2. Robson 24. White has 2. End of Milnes' 11th over. 1 for 23 with 5 maidens. Your uncle's behind us as well today, isn't he? I was the one that told him you were coming. He said Fabian's coming tomorrow. Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea he was here until I saw him out the back just before the start of play.
So he left it to surprise you then. He didn't send you a message and said, "Oh, I'm here tomorrow." He just waited for you to walk in.
Never know where Graham is. He hides around the county circuit.
Good to see him. A fan of the BBC commentaries. He loves, do you know Bob Hunt at Gloucestershire? That's his favourite. He loves Bob. Who doesn't love Bob? That is a good point, Ben. Who doesn't love Bob Hunt?
He's a real character. I think Darren Stevens is about to take a blow for the first time this morning. He's had a long spell as the veteran, the Kent veteran. 38 for 2 here.
Oh, that was it for Eskenazi, wasn't it? You know, could he just hang on those couple more overs, try and get past the opening spell? And that was the challenge for him. And he did get that one life to second slip. So as he did fall a couple of overs out before the end of Stevens' spell, it's just tough out there for them, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's perfect Stevens conditions as well. I think as an opening batsman around the county circuit, that is rule 1. You have to try and get through and survive Darren Stevens' opening exchange. I think we're going to have a look at Grant Stewart, number 9, stitched on to his back. 38 for 2 here, Middlesex.
Oh, Middlesex, I remember him well in swinging conditions. And the last game between them here was the pink ball day-night match, and Stevens scored the century and absolutely tore through Middlesex.
Yeah, he got the ball on a piece of string, didn't he, with that pink ball under lights? And the floodlights are on here as well. And here is Grant Stewart for the first ball of his spell. Blocked into the offside. No real pace on that occasion as he tries to find his rhythm early on in his spell.
Just trying to think back to the match. I mean, obviously you remember, what happened, but why it happened and how it happened. Because I remember as well, it wasn't so much the swing of the pink ball under the floodlights. It was the skid of the ball under the floodlights as well in the twilight period. That was the actual real moment for Stewart that helped. The ball just started to skid on because it actually looked quite slow up to that point in the pitch.
Stewart again, right arm over, blocked into the offside, just back of a length.
I think it was Rob Key that was talking about it, that here at Canterbury in particular, when the floodlights come on, that ball really skids through a little bit more and can dramatically change pace. So all of a sudden it was swinging, but swinging at pace.
Well, it's the sort of thing that you take into consideration as a opposing captain or as a Rob Key captain at Kent when you're playing the one-day format in the 2020 under lights.
Yeah.
That really does skid onto the bat, and it's quite nice to bat under lights when it's doing so. Stewart in again, right arm over. Good ball through to Ollie Robinson, just back of a length, and play and miss outside the offside.
I think it was to the extent that actually before twilight the fields would actually have catchers in front of the bat, and as soon as twilight came, that's it, pack the slips. It was that, and with a ball that was swinging, but swinging slowly, to begin with, then go in at pace. It was a bit of a double combo under the lights, and again it was that twilight period, as I remember, which was the same out in Abu Dhabi, that it was the twilight period when they were using the pink ball.
Stewart in, 3 slips, blocked into the offside. They'll shuffle through for 1. Good diving stop by Kadri at point. 39 for 2.
They actually moved. Middlesex played the Champions match out there against the MCC, and they moved the hours of play on the first morning of the match at the last minute. Probably no my luck, they brought it forward, but whatever way it was, pushed it back or brought it forward. So the second break, which was the longer 40-minute break, basically took as much of that twilight hour to try and negate the effects of twilight, because it was having too much of an impact, they felt.
Yeah, it's not the sort of conditions you want to be facing anyone who has the ability to swing the ball like Darren Stevens, or even Grant Stewart, who has the ball in his hand, who has had success in those conditions. Blocked into the leg side, full of a length. Straight to line on that occasion. Robson fighting hard, I think that's the best way to put it. His strike rate 35, 24 off 69 balls for him, doing a job.
It's a young batting lineup with no gubbins. Again, Lace would have been the man to come into this match, but he was released. Middlesex agreed to release him this week, and he went to Gloucestershire. But young Robbie White, he's played 16 matches, an average of 12, but Middlesex think that he's a really classy batsman underneath that.
Stewart again, full of a length, blocked into the offside. A consistent start for Grant Stewart, completes his first over. The over just going for 1, and the score 39 for 2.
So yeah, this is a big chance for him coming in. As they've dropped to this point, they've played 2 spinners, the Oval and Radlett. Pretty much straightforward decision on that, but they've dropped Souter for this one and given young Walla Luita his go, which does actually lengthen the tail a bit. Walla Luita will be down at 10 or 11, whereas Souter would have been up the order. So with the number of young batsmen as well, I'm sure Souter's spitting
yeah,
that he's lost out. But Walla Luita, outbowled him in the last couple of games.
And you mentioned there was
by that selection.
Yeah, you mentioned, sorry, there was a massive emphasis on pre-season and the performances there that sort of led into this season's selections. And tell me a bit more about White, because I haven't seen a lot of him. He's 3 off 10 balls at the moment, fighting hard. You mentioned he's got a fairly a low average at this stage in his career.
Yeah, he's come through. He's one of those names that's been around for donkey's years at Middlesex. He's going to be 25 soon, actually, on the 15th of September. So, he's an Ealing boy, but he's come through all the group stages for Middlesex. Played at Harrow School, and all the way through. Look, this guy is a real prospect, has been the word. And then, as I say, Richard Johnson took over at one point, and I think it wasn't a reflection on John Simpson at that point. I think Simo was a little light on runs, if memory serves. But it was more a case of, I think Johnson just wanted to make a little bit of a mark, and just I've got these few games at the end of the season. I want to throw the chance to a few people. Here's Klassen in from the Atkinson Road end. He bowls, and that one just takes a little bit of bite on White and surprised him up towards the splice of the bat. He managed to ride it just about backward a point.
Well, that's a good start from Klassen, isn't it? Just back of a length, veering into the gloves of White. Of course, is looking for a score here. There's certainly enough there in the pitch to take wickets. It's the sort of situation as a batsman you have to stay positive, look to score, look to rotate the strike, and don't get bogged down.
Class and tall figure, he's in, bowls, and forward goes White, defending back up the track, and there's no run.
Yeah, we haven't seen that from the Middlesex batsmen, actually. It's not easy against Darren Stevens and Milnes when they've got the ball in a string, but just looking to score, looking to rotate the strike into the offside. There haven't been many runs this morning, and there haven't been many boundary opportunities, but you have to find a way to put pressure back on the likes of bowlers with the skill of Stevens. Strike
rotation is the key, isn't it? Because again, I was talking about that Stuart Law mantra, be 60 for 1 at the interval. Don't be 90, 100 for 3 or 4. It's his class, and he's in, bowls, and this ball's dabbed into the onside defensively by White, and there's no run. That's not go into your shell, though. That's not what that mantra means. It's exactly as you said, rotate the strike. Obviously this is a bad ball, put it away. But
yeah, I think growing up when coaches used to say be positive, the first thing I would think is, right, I need to look to hit boundaries, take a few steps up the pitch, although that's sometimes a good approach, but it's not. It's just being positive in defence, being positive in your movements, and looking to get off strike, because that can put pressure on the bowler, and then you get your bad balls.
Klassen left arm over, he bowls full, and White there. He had a thought, there's a slight thought, wasn't there, on that? He defended it back up the track. You could see for a moment, or certainly I got the inkling for a moment that bat was going to come down a little sharper and drive through the ball, but defends it in the end.
He's itching a bit, isn't he? Just to get one away through the covers or punch one down the ground for 4. Lots of nerves there, understandably. 39 for 2.
Well, Eskenazi got that one away in front of point. I don't know, you were at the back of the box at that point, so you might not have detected it as well. Off the bat, I lost it, but it looked off the bat as though it was in the air in front of point. As Clarkson's in bowls, he's done well to get up on his toes to that one. White, and he looks up towards the splice of the bat again on this occasion, doesn't he? As you say, the one earlier in over wrapped onto the gloves, and I think that one would have given him a shudder or two as well, but he's managed to ride it again into the offside.
Yeah, it's not quick bounce off the pitch, but there's enough there, and White's doing well just to react and bring his hands up a little bit higher so he doesn't get wrapped in the gloves and it goes straight up in the air. So he's playing it well at the moment. Clarkson's a tall man, getting as much as he can out of this wicket.
Clarkson bowls, and this ball's clipped away, back of the square on the leg side by White, and he will pick up 2. 41 for 2, White's on to 5. Just answering your question again on White as we reach the end of the over, so Robson will have strike Clarkson with 2 off his first over. You know, it was a name that was there all the way through the ranks, and you know, he was understudy to Simpson when Rossington left for Northamptonshire. So, you know, Glubsman as well, but there was a point that somebody made to me, and you know, I won't say who it was, but they said, look, this lad with the bat could go all the way. Forget his wicket keeping ability with the bat, but he's, you know, about to turn 25 now, so now's the time for him, isn't it? That those chances that he's had that have come and gone, and he's got a chance now that he really needs to take, because they obviously have had a lot of belief in him over the years.
Grant Stewart, full of a length outside the off stump, and a loose shot from Robson, who looks like he's looking to just get one away and ease the pressure. 24 off 70 balls for him, fighting hard. Not the sort of shot you want to play when it's overcast, the floodlights are on and the pitch is slightly green. Yeah,
I mean, that's pressure, isn't it? From the bowlers, but pressure from the season so far for Robson. Yet to get a 50 on the board, say into the 30s against Surrey, but really in need of a score. And as Stuart Law said last night, not just this season either.
Here is Stuart to the former England opener, left alone outside the off stump, well watched by Sam Robson on that occasion, and it looks like someone like a White just needs that one score to give him the confidence that he belongs at this level. I remember walking into the Kent dressing room as a youngster, and Rob Key said the biggest moment in his career, forget all the sort of England runs and the hundreds he got later on, was getting that first 100, because it gave him a sense of belonging, and then he felt that he could score runs, and the confidence went through the roof. I think for White, he's obviously looking for one of those scores. Here is Stewart, blocked into the offside by Sam Robson.
And it is one of those days today, actually, that, I mean, I tell you what, 100 today from White would be some going, wouldn't it? Because it's one of those days that actually a decent 50 is worth many 100, with the bowling conditions at the moment, what they're up against. And as well, like I say, the pressure of the situation, because after this it's young Jack Davis as well. So, you know, another youngster coming in on debut, with Gubbins absent, with Lace terming it by that statement again, agreed to let him go.
Stuart to Robson, the senior man in this Middlesex batting lineup, blocked into straight down the pitch on that occasion, actually. Well played. Stuart picks the ball up, 41 for 2.
But yeah, this is big for Robson. Big for himself, but big for this innings. If they were to pick up Robson now and have White and Lace and Jack Davis out there, then boy, the pressure's really mounting on the Middlesex top order.
Yeah, Sam Billings just needs to make sure his men don't get impatient and keep hitting that line. Fourth stump outside the off stump. That's a short ball by Grant Stewart and pulled away, not convincingly, but well enough, you'd think, and it runs away for 4. Robson's first sign of intent in today's innings. He moves on to 28.
I guess that's the length for Robson, the pitches that he grew up on in Sydney. When he first got into the sides, you know, you could straight away see that he was a nuggety, gritty batsman, but then all of a sudden he just clipped one off his hips. You think, oh, hello. Punch one off the back foot, through point, off the back foot. You could see he was really good, and that was growing up on those hard, fast tracks. And I guess on the length on that one, he probably thought, you know what, I do need, as you said, you need to put a little bit of the pressure back. He probably thought, on this length, I'm backing myself, having grown up on those tracks, that I know how to hook and pull.
Yeah, well, it's one of the first bad balls he's had all morning. Punched into the onside, straight at Darren Stevens at mid-on. Beautiful long barrier from the veteran, and that completes the over, 45 for 2.
And it wasn't pretty, was it? But he got away with it.
Runs in the scorebook.
Yeah. And it just will feel that little bit better for him, won't it? You know, it was a bit of a percentage shot, wasn't it? that he didn't go fully through with it, but he got it over that infield crucially.
But that's the sort of intent you need. It was a short ball, and obviously when you're looking for that fourth stump delivery full of a length which you feel could get you out, you sometimes miss out on the bad balls, and that was there to hit, and Sam Robson did the right thing and put it away.
It's the horrible balance of a bad ball, isn't it? Because how many times does a bad ball take the wicket? And then all of a sudden the coach is going, come on guys, I'm talking about not scoring those, not thinking too much about the runs, but then equally part of that mantra is that you do put the bad balls away. So it's a very fine balance when runs are hard to come by in the season, not just in this situation.
Absolutely. That's why I think on the good deliveries you need to be looking to show that intent. Continue to look for one and punch the ball through the offside, but under the eyes, and not give anything away. I think Harry Podmore's just brought on the short leg pads. Daniel Bell-Drummond is strapping them on. 45 for 2.
Podmore would be tough on this, wouldn't he? He'd be very effective on this. I mean, most bowlers would, but he'd skid it through as well, wouldn't he? We just talked about, as you say, it wasn't massive pace on it from Stewart or even Clarkson to some extent. They're not no slouches, are they? But I think Podmore would skid it through nicely on this.
Yeah, he must be very disappointed not to be playing.
Ex-county as well, yeah.
Of course, and when Harry Podmore left Middlesex, was there a feeling that he should have perhaps been given 1 more year or 2 more years at Middlesex?
The problem is, I mean, look, you look at this side now. Stephen Finn, Toby Rowland-Jones and Tim Murtagh are sat on the sideline. James Fuller was there last year, or the year before. He went to Hampshire. They've just had this long list of bowlers. I mean, James Harris obviously in this game as well. That's his class, and he's in. Bowls, and forward goes White, pushing defensively into the offside. It's fielded at mid-off. Gully's come across to short leg for White now. I think that's what you were talking about in terms of that bounce that Clarkson's getting, and he's trying to play with that bat up high, isn't he? But,
absolutely. I think also a clever move from Sam Billings, who's brought Daniel Bell-Drummond into a short leg position because of that extra bounce. The ball's wrapped Robson and White on the gloves a couple of times, and if it does just get a little bit more extra bounce, it could just jump up into the air and Bell-Drummond could take a catch there.
Short mid-wicket's not a million miles away either, as Clarkson remains left arm over to the right-hander. And White is forward defending to that short mid-wicket. There's no run. So yeah, I think with Harry, I think back over the years watching Middlesex, there were so many Middlesex sides that Harry Podmore would have walked into. But his emergence came at a time when Middlesex just had this array of fast bowlers. James Franklin, of course, was the skipper for a bit, so he was the fourth seamer, the left armour. So added that variety. So he's trying to displace an awful lot of players to try and get in. He made a bit of an impact in the T20 on occasion. As Clarkson's in, bowls outside of the off stump through to the keeper, 45 for 2. So his was more, not so much one that got away, which for Higgins and Lace will be the case. As Middlesex look back, I mean, hopefully Middlesex, I'm sure, will desperately want Higgins and Lace to do well. They won't want them to have left and not do well. They wanted to keep hold of both of them. And that's quite clear again just from the facts of it with the contract situation with Lace, that he was given that new contract last year to keep Derbyshire at bay, and then this year he's gone to Gloucestershire as his. Clarkson to White, he bowls, and that's defended into the offside. With Podmore, I think it was a case of, you know what, you're a really good player, but it's just not the time, is it? An opportunity, get that contract offer for Kent. I doubt there'd be any hard feelings anyway around on that one. Podmore will be disappointed, I'm sure, that he didn't get more chances at Lords, but it was tough. It was really tough, and as you can see it now, the players they got on the sidelines for this match, it remains tough to get into that Middlesex seam attack. Clarkson, 2 balls left of his second over. He's in now, he bowls, and this is driven into the offside. Defended into the offside with the toe end of White's bat, and there's no run. We've got to do jiggery pokery. You've got to unplug for a minute, Fabian. You're going to replace me. Ben's got to go into your position to do his updates for BBC Radio Kent, BBC Radio London, together here for this match. Fabian Cowdery, Ben Watts, myself, Kevin Hand, and Middlesex digging in. They are 45 for 2 in the 25th over, as in comes Clarkson, bowls, and this ball's driven to mid-off, and there is no run. That is the end of the over, so that will be the end of me. What have we got? 25 overs gone, 45 on the board, so for sessions 32 overs. If Middlesex could get around that mark, I'll not unplug myself before I finish talking, then they're around that 60 odd for 1, alright, 60 odd for 2 at that 30 over mark, which the coach has talked about. So big little passage of play coming up here for Ben Watts first, and then Fabian Cowdery.
Thank you very much, Kevin Hand. Floodlights on. Ball in the hand of Grant Stewart. Middlesex 45 for 2, and by and large, so far this morning, have played the situation pretty damn well. As in comes Stewart, and that is softly played again. Wide of gully, or third slip in this occasion, Kent had in play, and away for 4 runs. So Robson moves on to 32. Middlesex up to 49 for 2, and it was well played. Just angled it down wide of the slips. Way swinging delivery, used that to his advantage, the batsman, and moves on to 32. And just a one further thought on Harry Podmore. Kevin, you were mentioning the fact that he had some impact in T20 cricket for Middlesex. Ironically, it's the one format he doesn't play for, Ken. It's now 3 slips and a gully. But Drummond moved in as Stewart bowls well forward to this next delivery. Robson defending it down the pitch. It might have gone off for bad light in Southampton. Crawley's 5 not out, although he was having a bit of a torrid time while you two guys were chatting away. I was trying to keep an eye on it, and a few times the ball going past the outside edge of his bat. Update on the way for BBC Radio Kent. And we'll hear again from Fabian Cowdrey alongside me, Ben Watts. As Stewart is in and bowling, back goes Robson. Defends up towards Darren Stevens, who was brought out his sweater a moment ago. Rare to see Darren Stevens without it on, in truth. Yeah, full hour of play here. The floodlights are on, but the sun just trying to creep through the hazy cloud overhead. 1 wicket falling. Middlesex 49 for 2. Darren Stevens, the man with it, and his 800th in his career as well. Lovely catch behind, a little edge from Eskenazi, and caught by Ollie Robinson diving away to his right. But so far, Robson and White and the other Middlesex batsmen have repelled Kent's efforts pretty well. Freddie Clarkson, the Dutchman, in the attack for Kent, along with Grant Stewart. Commentary continues online with Middlesex 49 for 2. Ball turned away into the onside, and a quick scamper through for a leg bye, as signalled by umpire Long.
Yeah, scampering through for a quick single. Middlesex have their 50 come up, 101 minutes in the innings, 25.5 overs it's taken to reach that first milestone. Robson and White continuing to battle hard. Grant Stewart started well. Just the one loose ball that got put away by Robson in this last over, where he dragged it slightly short, but apart from that, he's been on the money.
Here comes Stewart again. In and bowling, lovely delivery, lovely away swing, but again, good batting from this Middlesex pair, knowing where their off stump is and playing inside the line of the ball. 50 for 2 then, Middlesex, after the opening hour of play here on BBC Radio Kent, BBC Radio London, BBC Sport Online. I think, aside from the disappointment of Eskenazi, and as Kevin pointed out, the way he just loitered at the crease and slowly trudged off showed that disappointment, having done so much good work and so much hard work. Overall, I think Middlesex will be fairly content with what they've done so far.
Yeah, there's been some good deliveries. They've had a bit of luck, but of course, just losing the 1 wicket so far this morning. 50 for 2 now. It's very bizarre for me to come back and, as a former player, and see the opposition in the Les Ames stand. Left through to Ollie Robinson behind the stumps. Frederick Clarkson continues. Of course, the Kent side are in the Cheeseman Pavilion. Middlesex are stuck in the Leslie Ames stand across the other side of the ground from the commentary position. It's very unusual.
Stuck, an interesting word. Stuck. They've been placed over the other side of the ground for.
Frederick Clarkson with the ball in his hands once again.
They've got a lovely balcony. I think they're perfectly comfortable. I don't know which rooms they'll be using as changing rooms. I don't really know what's. The only time I go over there is to occasionally get fish and chips, or go to the bar downstairs. So I don't think I've been in the rooms at the top floor.
Here is Clarkson, left arm over the wicket. Full toss this time, and missed out on that occasion did Robson, who punched it straight back at Klaassen, who clasped onto it with one hand. Dot ball.
He's bowled so well, bowled pretty well so far, Klaassen. I feel like he's, I mean, that, I say that after the most ranked ball he's bowled all day, but he's maybe put on a little bit of pace over the winter. And certainly being left arm helps him, but hasn't really played a lot of red ball cricket so far for Kent.
3 slips in, here is Klaassen, full of a length, blocked into the leg side, a tight line to Robson, who continues his fight this morning. 32 from 83 balls for him.
Decent barrage of seam bowlers now in their squad. Kent with the likes of Klaassen, Stewart, Milnes, Stevens, Podmore, Groneveld, the new man Nathan Gilchrist coming from Somerset, Callum Haggett as well.
Yeah, it's a very
probably
talented,
missed someone out as well.
very talented young Kent squad.
Ivan Thomas, I know I missed someone.
Klaassen again, punched down the ground. A beautiful shot on this occasion from Robson as it runs away towards the side screen. Darren Stevens gives it up, and that is the shot of the day for me. 54 for 2, just full of a length. The maker's name and 4 runs onto Robson's score sheet. Yeah, Klaassen shouldn't be too aggrieved by that though, pitching the ball up, bringing the slips into play. Just needs a little bit of purchase out the surface, and that could end up in Sam Billings' hands at first slip. But on this occasion, Robson was up to the challenge. Here is Klaassen again from the Nackington Road end. Left arm over, full of a length, blocked to Daniel Bell Drummond at short mid-wicket.
It's starting to feel a bit warmer, isn't it? I think the sun, as I mentioned in the update, is trying to creep through.
So Ben, what do you think of Harry Podmore's new hairstyle? What's your view on it?
I wonder when this might come up. Has Kevin seen it yet? So he's basically dyed it silver fox grey.
It's an incredible look. I'm disappointed he's not playing actually just for that reason. Oh, it's chipped into the leg side. A loose shot by Robson after all the hard work, and caught by Daniel Bell Drummond nicely at short mid-wicket. And that is a real giveaway. If you're a Middlesex supporter listening in, you'll be disappointed with that dismissal. 36 from 85 for Robson, and he has to make the lonely trudge off after a rather loose shot, Ben Watts.
Yeah, it was a weird one in truth. It was a sort of foolish delivery from Klaassen. He's looked to just nudge it away into the onside, and it's just kind of ballooned up off the toe end of the bat, and a pretty comfortable catch for Bell Drummond. And well, after all the hard work that Robson's done, all the excellent judgment he's shown, and saw some nice clipped boundaries over mid-wicket yesterday as well, 36 in total for him. He'll be top scorer of the season. He'll be disappointed that he's laid that groundwork and then got out in a slightly peculiar fashion, really.
Yeah, he got himself in and got himself out. As we just heard, that's his top score of the season, 36. He would have hoped to go on and really allow the Middlesex middle order to bat around him. But instead, he makes the lonely trudge off. Klaassen adds to his wicket tally. 1 for 6 for him. Just under 3 overs bowled from the Nackington Road end for Klaassen.
Yeah, his first wicket of the season and his first involvement for Kent in this competition. Expect him to play a bigger role perhaps in the T20 that's coming up at the end of this month. We finally had the fixtures for those, didn't we? Which was nice to look ahead and see what is going to be happening with that competition, and pretty much a game two games every 3 days for County. It's going to be a busy one. But yeah, so Klaassen involved, 1 for 6 now, his figures. Anderson coming to the crease at number 5 for Middlesex, but White the man on strike for Grant Stewart. Angles this down and towards the gully. Bell Drummond picks it up, 1 bounce.
Another good length from Grant Stewart, who's really bringing in the outside edge of these Middlesex batters' bats. Anderson and White now are at the crease. A lot of work to do. You'd think these are bowler-friendly conditions. Middlesex will be looking at something around 200 as a minimum if they can. But Darren Stevens, I'm sure, will be reintroduced into the attack at some point soon, so they'll have the challenge of him ahead.
Stewart bowls. That one keeps a little bit low, but he's getting a good shape on this ball. The Australian-born seam bowler.
Yeah, handy batter, Grant Stewart as well. First class 100.
You don't need to tell Kevin Hand that.
Yeah, against Middlesex, Grant Stewart.
Quite comfortably his top scorer in first class cricket. Yeah, against Middlesex in that pink ball game here at Canterbury a couple of years ago now.
Yeah, no doubt one of the reasons he's on the team sheet.
Here's Stewart, 3 slips in gully. In and bowling that one well wide of the off stump. White wisely leaving it alone. He's got 5 from 26. Fabian, what's your Twitter address if people want to get in touch with you?
I think I'm at FK Cowdery on Twitter, if anyone wants to message me and ask me a question on that platform.
At Kevin Hand BBC, at BBC Kent Sport, kentcricket@gmail.com as well. Lots of ways for you to get in touch. If you're currently just switching over with no test cricket to watch as well, as Stewart is in. Big shout for LBW, but then just deciding against it in the end, the Kent side. Was there a bit of inside edge perhaps?
Yeah, full length from Grant Stewart. I think the thick inside edge saved White on that occasion, who's 5 off 27. Hasn't found his rhythm, just surviving out there at the moment. 54 for 3 Middlesex, and a massive period for both sides. If Kent can go bang bang now and put Middlesex back to 54 for 5, they really are in with a good sniff of having a bat perhaps around tea time today.
Stewart bowls again. Good positive defensive stroke, quick scamper through to the bowler's end for White. Kadri was the man doing the fielding at point, but he was fairly comfortably home in the end, 55 for 3.
Good intent though, drop and run, get off strike. If the ball's moving round and it's tough batting conditions, it's best to just watch it from the non-strikers end. 55 for 3. Anderson about to mark his guard for his first delivery here at the Spitfire ground. Up 3 slips, and Daniel Bell Drummond has moved to a gully position, so no room for a loose drive outside that off stump now.
Floodlights remain on here at Canterbury. Blanket grey skies overhead as Anderson, the